All right, welcome back. This is episode 2 of the preseason for Parli and how you guys can study and whatnot. So in this episode, we'll be going over motions, right? What is a motion, how we can make those motions, and what are the various types of motions. Now, what is a motion? A motion is more or less a um, item of business. It is an action that the assembly will take or the organization will conduct business through. There's many different forms of motions, including main, subsidiary, incidental, and privileged. Now, what do those actually mean? To answer that, let's start with what a main motion is. For example, let's say someone says, and gets recognition from the chair, Mr. President, I move to hold a fundraiser on June 4th. That is a main motion, right? It doesn't fall into anything specific, it's just a broad motion. In a motion, there's many different properties, right? Can it be amended? Can you debate it? The vote required? Can it be reconsidered? Can you interrupt the speaker? Etc. Right? For this example, a main motion can be reconsidered. It can be debated. Requires a majority vote. Cannot interrupt speaker. And yeah, that's what a main motion is. So if in this consideration, if we were holding a fundraiser on June 4th, members can make debate on it. Members would be a majority vote to pass, and it can be reconsidered. So if it was to fail or pass, the opposing or uh, proposing side could reconsider it if that gets passed as well. Okay, now what is a subsidiary motion? A subsidiary motion is generally a motion that applies to another motion, or it could be used to aid the assembly, right? So it could be an amendment, right? Let's say we have the same main motion. Oh, I move to hold a fundraiser on June 4th. We can say, I move to strike out 4th and insert 5th. Okay, because now the question, or what the item of business is on hand, is actually changing the wording from 4th to 5th. And as an amendment, right, it kind of follows the characteristics of the main motion. So if the main motion is debatable, then the amendment is debatable. And because it is, we can debate on it, requires majority vote, can be reconsidered, etc. Now, what is an incidental motion? For example, an incidental motion might be point of order. What a point of order is basically, let's say a motion is made. All right, I move to hold the fundraiser on June 4th. Okay, now generally when it comes to debate, the maker of the motion has the first right to debate. Now, if the maker of the motion doesn't debate, then it's open to anyone else until they decide, at which point they have priority. Okay, so let's say two members rise, none of which are the maker of the motion. They rise at the same time to get recognition from the chair, and they want to debate. So Mr. President and Mr. President, right? Two people. Let's say the chair chooses member A, okay? Now, member B believes he stood up first because the chair is generally supposed to choose the person who he saw get recognition first. So let's say member A got recognition first, but member B doesn't believe that. So generally, when the chair would choose a member A, member B would sit down, but instead, he says point of order. The chair then says state your point. And then the member B could say, I believe I rose first. Okay, then the chair has to make a ruling. This ruling can be either um, point well taken or point not well taken. If the point is well taken, then that means the chair believes that member B is in the right, and member A then needs to sit down. Member B then has the right to debate and has the floor. In another case, the chair could say this point is not well taken, and because of that, member B would sit down, member A still has the floor. And then I guess theoretically you could make appeal the decision of the chair, but in this case it's not that complex. But that's kind of what a incidental motion is. It's usually to not it doesn't relate directly to the motion, it's more of an aid per se. And then a privilege motion, this is something that the assembly has as a given right. It could be the motion to adjourn when there's current business pending, as if there's no pending business, it would be a main motion. So a privilege is just something that you kind of have by default. It's a privilege of yours to have it. And then let's actually look into what that might look like. So if we go on to our, chart of motions here, right? Privilege motions also include recess, raise a question of privilege, fix the time to which to adjourn, etc. We'll go over some more motions here, right? Recess. What is recess? So this would be a short intermission, as it implies. Yeah, Mr. President, I move to take a 5-minute recess. Okay. And then, as we can see, we have the characteristics on the right side. So, for example, a second would mean, let's say, Mr. Chairman, Member A, I move to hold a 5-minute recess. Then someone has to say second, which shows that the assembly wants to take not to that wants to take on the motion, right? They want to discuss it further. Even if they are against it, they still want to hear, or they still want to put it to a vote, nonetheless. Debate, can you speak on it? Uh, is there any debate? Mr. President, I believe this motion, etc. Amend, which means you can change the wording. As a main motion, you can, right? June 4th to June 5th, 5 minutes to 10 minutes, whatever it may be. And the vote, that is the vote required to sustain the motion to make it pass. All right, let's look into some more subsidiary motions. Another subsidiary motion might be commit or refer. There's generally two types of committees. You have a standing committee and a special committee. A special committee is not permanent, and it usually dissolves after its business has concluded. For a standing committee, it is a permanent committee. So a permanent committee is a standing committee. So it's going to stay in place until it is formally, dissolved, but it's going to stay there for more business and just general purposes. Now, there is some special cases like restitutory motions or special main motions, stuff like that. That is usually pretty niche. For this video, we won't be going over that, but this is something we will definitely use during practice, and it's something we used last year where you will be quizzed, not this entire thing, but generally what is going on here. Just kind of the properties of motions. This is stuff you really want to study. I highly suggest this. I will post this in the resources, but if you want to get an idea of how to actually use these and translate over into an actual roleplay, you need to know this. So this is definitely a necessity if you are looking to want to do those scenarios later, or you want to do it fluently. All right, well, I think that is going to conclude episode 2 on the motions. Thank you for listening, and next episode we will be going over debate and how you can use its various applications. Thank you.